here we are. We got another fabulous edition of WCW Monday Nitro, and we are kicking off the show. And backstage, it's Sting talking to Eric Bischoff. He says, he's getting tired of the Dark Ministry. He wants to get his hands on them. He wants all of them. He's gonna, you know, get rid of them and save WCW once and for all from their evil. And Bischoff says he'll do what he can, but he hasn't really seen any of them so far. The show's just started, but he hasn't seen any of them backstage or heard anything about their whereabouts. But he says he'll do what he can for Sting. And let's see what we got. It was an average 5-minute interview. Bischoff and Sting were the only ones on camera. They were talking about, of course, the Dark Ministry, Mordecai, Vincent, and Dutch. Let's see. Hot and rising for the crowd heat at the end of that. That's good. That's good. Crowd segment was a 56. It's about what we've been getting. It's all right. So there we have it. Sting wanting a little bit of retribution and wanting some payback against the Dark Ministry. Here, all right, our first match of the night. Trevor Lee versus Charlie Dempsey. Oof, already I could see that crowd was not into it. Let's see. It had decent reaction from the crowd. Really, really. 36 is decent. Okay, TEW. Charlie Dempsey picking up the win over Trevor Lee. Okay, this is one of the ones where I kind of just let the agent decide who the winner was. I really thought it was going to be Trevor Lee, but I guess they picked Charlie Dempsey. Let's see. Commentary, color commentary. They both did 43 for in ring. Crowd heat at the end of that was hot, so that's good. Wrestling was a 43. That crowd was a 36. And then the segment rating was a 45. All right. Well, I mean, it was the opening match. It is Trevor Lee and Charlie Dempsey. I have hopes for both of them, but clearly they're not main event level status, wrestlers. So overall, not bad, not bad, except for that crowd rating. I'm not really too pleased with that, but that's all right. Moving on. Mordecai comes out, and let's see. It's an outside broadcast, so we still don't know, where he's at, where, if he's even going to show up to the building tonight, but he directs his comments to Sting and says that there's nothing Sting can do, that they're the Dark Ministry and they're going to there to usher in the new era of their Dark Lord. And he says if he wants a little action tonight, if he's looking to rumble and tumble, that he can take on Dutch later on tonight in a match. So awful 5-minute interview. Ugh, fucking Mordecai. All right. But it says he improvised well throughout the segment, but it made our crowd heat go down. The crowd was just not into Mordecai, and yeah, segment rating of a 33. That pretty much solidifies it. I don't know. Maybe there's more we can do to help build up Mordecai. I really wanted this to work out. I have hopes for this. I'm not giving up on this yet, but the crowd is just not connecting with Mordecai and the Dark Ministry. Oh wow. Let's see what else we got. Cash Wheeler. It says it's a poor 2-minute angle. Oh, he struggled going off script. Okay, he needs help. Segment was a 43. Crowd heat simmering. So, a little bit better, but whatever. But here, Cash is basically talking about uh, Dax and his concussion and how he's going to be out for a while and that he has no choice but to drop the tag team titles. He says it's an unfortunate situation, but that's life. Things happen in this business beyond their control, and this is just one of them. Dax is out on injury due to that concussion, can't wrestle, so he's dropping the tag titles, and he says not to worry, FTR will be back in the future, and they're going to come to reclaim those tag titles when the time is right. So we have a round of tag matches coming up here. Eventually, I think at Starcade we will crown new tag champs. For now, all the tag teams are, vying for momentum, trying to make their case for why they should be in a tag title match. And here we have Featured Attraction versus the Wrecking Crew. And it was actually a decent match. Wow, and a decent match. Featured Attraction picking up the win over Wrecking Crew. Not surprised there. This is another one of those matches where I left it up to the road agents to decide. I didn't pick a winner, I just let it up to them. And yeah, let's see. Adam Copeland pinning JTG after the spear. Yeah, JTG is the weak link, of course. But let's see. The crowd heat simmering. Wrestling was a 54. Crowd was a 48, and our segment overall was a 51. So here we are, featured attraction, picking up a win, getting a little bit of momentum, heading to Starcade, making their case for why they should be in a tag title match. Very nice. Shelton Benjamin. A poor 5 minute angle that took place backstage. Shelton Benjamin was seen walking backstage, clearly looking for something, checking all the doors on his way by until he finally finds the one he's looking for, and it belongs to none other than Cash Wheeler. And the last we see before the scene fades out is Shelton knocking on Cash's door and then heading in. So crowd heat at the end of that was simmering still. Segment was a 47. He improvised well throughout. I mean, just not much to improvise. He was just walking around looking for Cash Wheeler's door. But there we have it. Shelton Benjamin walking in to talk with Cash Wheeler. And here we have the match, Sting versus Dutch. Decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Sting picking up the win here after the Scorpion Deathlock. So picking up a submission win over Dutch. Let's see. Simmering still. Wrestling was a 47. Crowd rating 46. Segment 52. So Sting picking up a small measure of retribution here against one of the members of the Dark Ministry and taking out Dutch. Perfect. All right, another tag match coming up here. This time it's the Good Brothers versus High Octane. High Octane, of course, being Fuego del Sol and Samurai del Sol. So decent reaction from the crowd, subpar wrestling. The Good Brothers picking up the win here over High Octane. Fuego was the weak link. Which one is Fuego? Is that Fuego? Yep. Oh, he was really off his game for that match too. All right. Well, yeah, and his in-ring performance was a 33. So, anyways, the crowd heat at the end of that was simmering. Wrestling was a 46, crowd rating was a 38, and our segment rating was a 50. So another tag match here. Good Brothers picking up the win. So far that's Good Brothers and Featured Attraction picking up the wins tonight in their tag matches, making their cases heard for that title opportunity at Starcade, which is coming up, I think. After this, we have two more Nitros before Starcade. All right, Carmella versus AJ Mendez. AJ defending her women's title here tonight. Let's see. Again, another match that had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. AJ picking up the win over Carmella. Um, this is defense number 2 for AJ, and she successfully defends that women's title. Let's see. Crowd heat still simmering. Wrestling was a 49. Crowd was a 51. And segment was a 51. So good for AJ. Good for AJ. And after the match, with AJ still in the ring celebrating her victory, her defense, Britt Baker comes out and attacks her viciously for 5 minutes. And hey, that got the crowd heat hot and rising. So that's good. Our segment was a 55. Yep, loving that. Angle got the crowd hotter. So yeah, Britt Baker here taking advantage of unprepared. Let's see what else. Not well, yeah, because she wasn't prepared. So an unprepared, distracted, I guess, because she was busy celebrating her title win. So Britt Baker coming out and attacking AJ. Oof. Joe Hendry versus Moose. Decent match. Perfect. Decent match. Joe Hendry. Wow. Joe Hendry submitted Moose. Okay, this is another one where I left it up to the road agents to see, who would win, and they're going with Hendry. The crowd heat at the end of that was hot. Perfect. I love it. I love it. Wrestling rating did a 52, crowd was a 47, and our segment rating was a 56. So Joe Hendry picking up the win over Moose and keeping, that momentum for him going. Good for Joe Hendry, I believe. Moving on. All right, so backstage uh, angle here. We have Austin Theory, getting in Samoa Joe's face and, saying he wants that U.S. title back and he's going to get it back one way or the other. And Samoa Joe kind of just blows him off and is like, look, you're old news. There's other people more deserving. And here's one of them now. And when he says that, who's there but Ron Killings? Ron Killings, a little comic relief still thinks he's in the WWE. He hasn't quite figured it out that he's in WCW yet, but he says he'll get to the bottom of that eventually. But tonight, he just thanks Samoa Joe for giving him a title shot, and he says he'll see him out there. Let's see, crowd heat at the end of that was white hot, and that's crazy. But all right, and our segment a 71, highest segment rating of the night. I like that. Wouldn't expect anything less from these three, especially good old Ron. He's gold out there. Glad to have him here in WCW. So they have their title match. Samoa Joe versus Ron Killings. Decent match. Samoa Joe picked up the win with the muscle buster. During the match, we had Theory who came in and he was gonna try to hit Truth, or yeah, try to hit Samoa Joe, trying to help Truth win the title because he figures he'll have an easier time of taking the title off of Ron Killings than he would off of Samoa Joe. I forgot to change his nickname. It still says Truth, but whatever. Um, but Samoa Joe just a little bit too smart for that, ducking out of the way, and Austin Theory ends up hitting Killings instead. So this was Samoa Joe's first defense of the title, and he is successful. Crowd heat at the end of that was very hot. Segment, no, our segment was a 59, crowd was a 54, and wrestling was a 54. Samoa Joe was in amazing form. Ron Killings is still quote unquote flavor of the month for like what is this, second month in a row now? But very happy with this. I like this. Not bad at all. Especially that crowd heat being very hot. So here we are. Let's see, it's a good 5 minute angle. It's a contract signing between Kenny Omega and MJF. MJF says, I think personally Styles is better than you, and I put Styles on the shelf. I'm gonna do the same thing to you. I'm better than you and you know it. Kenny Omega kind of just shrugs it off and he says, look, kid, good job on you on taking out a talented performer like Styles, but as you said, I'm not Styles. And no matter what you think, I'm taking that title off of you at Starcade. Your all your BS, it ends. We're tired of it. And we're gonna have a real champion in WCW soon. And the crowd heat at the end of that was very hot. And the segment rating was a 75. All right, so that is now our highest rated segment of the evening. So there we have it. A tense contract signing between the two. And we have our match for Starcade. It's going to be Kenny Omega versus MJF for the World Heavyweight title. Let's go on. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, we lost popularity in 11, but we gained popularity in 33. We benefited from having quite a wide selection of angles. Nice, nice. But yeah, that promo with Theory in them, 71, and then the contract signing did a 75. Overall, our rating was a 62. I might have to go back and look at the ratings from our past couple of shows, but I think this might be one of our higher rated Nitros. Let's finish the show here. Nope, don't care about financials. Don't care about popularity. We'll continue this. And all right, as always, I'll see you again once we come back here and we'll check to see if there's any interesting news or mail. See you guys shortly. All right, here we are. Let's see what's going on. Let's check out what happened on Raw. Wow, performance of the night belonged to Chad Gable. I thought for sure it'd be Rhea Ripley, but all right. Where? Here we are. Nitro. The show was good. Some found it underwhelming. That's whatever. Let's see. Anything interesting in the news? Rhett Titus divorce. Okay. Oh, no. Nothing really. Nothing big in the news going on here. No top headlines, really. Let's see. What is the mail? Just drug tests and viewing figures? Alright. While we're here, let's take a look at our child company, PPW, which is Power Plant Wrestling. Let's see what they got going on. Head booker, still good old Scott D'Amore. Let's see their titles. There we go. Who are their champions? So the international champion, Mustafa Ali, who got it from Juice Robinson, and then it was vacant. Wonder why they vacated the title. Maybe Juice picked up a contract somewhere else. Can we go to? Will it bring us to Juice? I don't know. Guess not. All right. Well, for whatever reason, Juice was the champion, the inaugural champion. Then they vacated the title, and now Mustafa Ali. Mustafa? Mustafa. Whatever. He's now the champion. Nationwide champion is Austin Aries. He was the first one. He still got it. Their tag team champions, AJ Francis and Sunny Kiss. And the women's champion over there is ODB. So only one title has changed hands, and that was their main title. All right. Not bad, not bad. Oh, is there anything else? No, that's about it. So yeah, that's PPW. They're doing all right so far. Oh yeah, and there we have an alliance. I forgot about that. Is that down here? I don't know. I know it's me, PPW, and I think the NWA, I'm pretty sure, is a member of our alliance. We'll look into that next time. But there we have it, folks. That was another edition of Nitro. And like I said, I believe we have Starcade. Let's see. Next Sunday. So not. Oh, so did we not have two more Nitros? I thought we had two more Nitros. Huh. Let's take a look. Because we are on the 18th now. We just had that Nitro. Today's the 18th. So it said not this Sunday, but the. So, oh, okay, we only have one more Nitro then. I thought we had two more. So, one more Nitro, then we have Starcade, and then the last Nitro of the month. Okay, so Starcade coming up quicker than I thought. Perfect. All right, everyone. So there we have it. That was the Nitro, one more Nitro, and then we have Starcade later on that week. So we're getting ever closer to Starcade. Uh, Thank you everyone for joining me this time around, and hopefully we'll see you here next time. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.